Module 15, Preschoolers Physical Development by Maria Rita D. Lucas, PhD. To start this report, let us begin with a quote. A child reminds us that playtime is an essential part of our daily routine. It is from Anonymous. For our learning outcomes, at the end of this module, you should be able to, first, describe preschool children's physical growth. Second, identify the different gross and fine motor skills. And lastly, draw implications of these concepts on physical development on teaching preschoolers. The preschooler years is commonly known as the years before formal schooling begins. It roughly covers 3 to 5 years of age. Here in the Philippines, at the age of 3 to 5 or 6 years, we do have kindergarten and preschool. This is known as the years before formal school or the grade school years. It is indeed that preschool years is very important as it lays foundation to later development. This includes the social and emotional strength, learns how to compromise, learns how to be respectful, and provides an environment to explore, gain a sense of self, play with peers, and build self-confidence. As such, this development cannot be enhanced without the guide of the teachers. In this case, the pre-service teachers needs to be knowledgeable about them to be truly an intentional and effective teacher. The module on the physical development of preschoolers focuses on the acquisition of gross and fine motor skills. When we say gross motor skills, it pertains to skills involving large muscle movements such as independent sitting, crawling, walking, or running. On the other hand, fine motor skills involves the use of smaller muscles, such as grasping, object manipulation, or drawing. In addition, the artistic expression, proper nutrition and sleep, and what teachers and caregivers should do to maximize the preschoolers' development.
Big ideas about the physical development of preschoolers. Number 1. There are significant changes in physical growth of preschoolers. Children reach milestone in how they play, learn, speak, behave, and move, like crawling, walking, or jumping. Number 2. The preschooler physical development is marked by the acquisition of gross and fine motor skill. As children grow into early childhood, they will begin to open up. They will become more independent and begin to focus more on adult and children outside of the family. Number 3. Preschooler can express themselves artistically at the very early ages. Preschooler enjoy the challenge of experimenting with a wide variety of media and tools, using them to express their feelings, ideas, and sharpening their basic skills. Number 4. Proper nutrition and the right amount of sleep are very important for the preschooler. Preschooler needed a healthy and nutritious food, and preschooler is needed a exact amount of sleep with 8 hours a day. Number 5. Caregivers and teachers can do a lot in maximizing the growth and development of preschooler. Preschooling develop their skills and knowledge by his experience. Preschoolers with special needs is exclusive classroom can thrive well with the appropriate adaptation made in the classroom materials. Significant change and physical growth. Physical growth increase in the preschool years, although it is much slower in pace than infancy and toddlerhood. At around 3 years of age, preschoolers move from the remaining baby-like feature of the toddler toward a more slender appearance of a child. The trunk, arms, and legs become longer. The meaning of toddlerhood is the period of the terrible twos, that is no saying newly operational toddlers now want to do things for themselves. Parents experience many conflict and children at this age because they must limit the child not only to teach enforce control but also for the child's own survival. The center of gravity refers to the point of which body weight is evenly contributed. Toddlers have their center of gravity at a high level, about the chest level. There is why they have difficulty doing sudden movements without falling down. Preschoolers, on the other hand, have their center of gravity at the lower level, right about near the belly button. This gives them more ability to be stable at balance. The the preschoolers move from the unsteady stance of toddlerhood to a more steady bearing. They no longer toddle that wobbly way that toddlers walk. This also allows the preschoolers to move more successfully than the toddler. The toddlers, some say that the later part of the preschooler years at around 5 or 6 is the best time to begin learning skills that require balance like riding a bike or skating. By the time the child reaches 3 years old, all primary or deciduous or what are also called baby or milk teeth are already in a place. That permanent teeth, which will begin to come out by age 6, are also developing. The preschooler years are therefore a time and still habit of good dental hygiene. Deciduous teeth is the official term for baby teeth. Milk teeth or primary teeth. Deciduous teeth start developing during the embryonic stage and then commonly begin to come in about 6 months after birth.
Gross motor development, acquiring skills that involve the large muscles. So, these are the abilities that allow people to do things that involve using the large muscles in the torso, arms, and legs to complete whole body movements. That includes activities like climbing and jumping jacks. Gross motor skills includes three types. Number one, locomotor skills. This skill is going from one place to another. Examples: walking, running, climbing, skipping, hopping, and etc. Number two, non-locomotor skills. This skill where the child stay in place. Examples: stretching, turning, and swaying. Number three, manipulative skills. This skill is projecting and receiving objects. Examples: throwing, striking, bouncing, catching, and dribbling. Now we talk about fine motor development. This motor development, acquiring the ability to use the smaller muscles in the arm, hands, and fingers purposefully. Fine motor skills are the ability to make movements using the small muscles in our hands and wrists. Examples: picking, squeezing, pounding, and opening things, holding and using the spoon and fork when eating, buttoning, zipping, combing, and brushing. Different environments provide different experiences with fine motor skills. Like other children from urban areas, most likely they are proficient on how to use smartphones and tablets, while the other children are digging out soil, playing toys, and others are enjoying clay, Play Doh, and paintings. The best example is preschoolers. Most children manage to hold a pencil with their thumb and fingers. draw pictures, and write letters. Preschoolers also have self-help skills like eating and dressing up independently. Significant fine motor skills can be expected from preschoolers, especially if they supported and appropriate activities are provided for them.
Preschoolers' artistic development. At the heart of the preschooler years is their interest to draw and make other forms of artistic expressions. This form of fine motor activity is relevant to preschoolers. A professor of art education, naming Victor Lowenfield, studied this and came up with the stages of drawing in early childhood. Lowenfield's stages of artistic development are scribbling stage, pre-schematic stage, and schematic stage. First stage is scribbling stage, ages 2 to 4. This stage begins with large zigzag lines which later become circular markings. Soon discrete shapes are drawn. The child may start to name his or her drawing towards the end of this stage. Stage 2 is pre-schematic stage, ages 4 to 7. This stage may already include early representations. This also becomes very significant when we discuss about cognitive development. At this point, adults may be able to recognize the drawings. Children at this stage tend to give the same names to their drawings several times. Drawings usually comprise of a prominent head with basic elements. Later, arms, legs, hands, and even facial features are included. Last stage is schematic stage, ages 7 to 9. In this stage, more elaborate scenes are depicted. Children usually draw from experience and exposure. Drawings may include houses, trees, the sun, and sky and people. Initially, they may appear floating in air but eventually drawings appear to follow a ground line. Preschooler drew the same drawing maybe 100 times. Repetition is the hallmark of early drawing. Adults should remember to have a neat supply of papers, crayons, and pens, or they will find the preschooler's drawing on the furniture and walls. This affords the preschooler opportunities to gain mastery of the fine motor skills involved. Also important to remember is the preschooler's representations or drawings does not only involve in fine motor skills, but also cognitive skills. Children's drawing allows us to have a glimpse of how they understand themselves and the world around them.
The kind of nutrition a preschooler gets has far-reaching effect on his physical growth and development. The preschooler's nutritional status is the result of what nutrients he or she actually takes in check against the nutritional requirement for his/her age. Obviously, having too much or too little both have their negative effects. Here in our country, we can see the extreme of preschoolers not having enough food and those on the other end of the extreme where we find preschoolers who are not just overweight but obese. The celebration of the Nutrition Month every July is aimed at advocating for proper nutrition. Each year a theme is put forth to advocate good nutritional habits while government programs on giving out fortified bread, milk, and even noodles aims to address malnutrition among children. It is important for preschoolers to get the sufficient amount of rest and sleep. Preschoolers benefit from about 10 to 12 hours of sleep each day. It is when they are asleep that vital biological processes that affect physical and cognitive development takes place. During sleep, especially in the dream state, rapid eye movement stage, growth hormones are released. Blood supply to the muscles are likewise increased, helping preschoolers regain energy. At this state, while dreaming, increased brain activity is also attained.
A quick look at what preschoolers can do in physical skills. This bulleted list of preschoolers' physical skills is lifted from the physical domain component of the Philippine Early Learning and Development Standards. This set of standards was based on a study commissioned by UNICEF and the Child Welfare Council. This is now adopted for use by the Early Childhood Care and Development Council. Here below is the gross motor, which is the abilities usually acquired during childhood as part of the child's motor skill, from 36 to 48 months. Hops 1 to 3 steps on preferred foot, skips with alternating feet, jumps and turns, stands on one leg without falling for at least 5 seconds, and another is throws a ball overhead with control of direction and with control of speed. Lastly, kicks a ball with control of speed. Next is the fine motor skills, which is involved in smaller movements that occur in the hands, wrists, fingers, feet, and toes. From 36 to 48 months, consistently turns pages of a picture or storybook one page at a time, looking at pictures with interest. Purposefully copies diagonal lines, bisects a cross, copies a square, and copies a triangle. Lastly, cuts with scissors following a line.
For 49 to 60 months, copies a simple pattern of different basic shapes, draws a human figure like head, eyes, mouth, trunk, arms, legs, etc. without prompts. Draws a house without prompts using geometric forms and colors with strokes staying within the lines. We have also the personal care and the hygiene or self-help skills. For 36 to 48 months, pours from pitcher without spillage, feeds self using spoon without spillage, dresses without assistance except for buttons and tying laces, and puts on socks independently. For 49 to 60 months, feeds self using fingers without spillage, prepares own food, dresses without assistance including buttoning and tying, brushes teeth after meals, and takes a bath independently without having to be told.
The role of caregivers in the growth and development of the preschoolers. Optimum physical development of preschoolers is largely influenced by the supportive caregivers, the parents and teachers, who provide a stimulating environment and appropriate activities for the children. If you have friends and relatives who are responsible for preschoolers, read and share the following tips. For all preschoolers. A. Engage preschool children in simple games that involves running and walking. In the early age, children need basic physical education to support their needs, especially for their bodies. Letter B. Provide them with toys for catching and throwing such as soft large balls and bean bags. Next is letter C. Have balancing activities for preschoolers. Use low balance beams and lines on the classroom floor or playground. Montessori schools have blue and red lines on their preschool classroom floors. Letter D. Allow opportunities for rough and tumble play like in a grassy area or soft mats. Keen observation and monitoring is, of course, expected to keep them safe from injury. Letter E. Ensure that the preschoolers get enough rest and sleep. Setting a routine for bedtime is ideal. Last is letter F. Model good eating habits to preschoolers. Encourage more fruits, vegetables, water, and fresh juices rather than processed food, sugary snacks, and sodas. Another tips for 3-year-olds. Letter G. Encourage development of hand-eye coordination by providing large buttons or old beads to string on a shoelace. Letter H. Play ball. Show children how to throw, catch, and kick balls of different sizes. Letter I. Show children how to tap. Letter J. Encourage free expression in art projects. Avoid asking what children are drawing. 3-year-olds may not know or care but simply enjoy the process of drawing. Lastly, letter K. Provide a variety of art experiences, make Play-Doh, create collages for magazine pictures, fabric, wallpapers, and use print. Encourage children to experiment with new media like wire and cork, soda straws, string, or yarn.
4-year-olds encourage physical development, play follow the leader, pre-lead to walk like various animals, set up an obstacle course indoors with challenges such as crawling, climbing, leaping, indoors with challenges such as leaping, balancing, and running across sleeping stones. Encourage walking with a pen bag on the head. For 5 years old, encourage body coordination and sense of balance by playing follow the leader with skipping, galloping, and hopping skip. Jump rope to music, rich folk dance, and games provide balance beam a free 3-4 climbing in a knotted rope suspended. Touch sack, walking and fish and status of fish games to provide an outlet for the drive for physical activity. Play games that can teach right and left direction like hockey, pokey, low below, and Simon says help children learn to use a pair of scissors by letting them out our coupons. Thank you.